Listen to me. Life without direction is like driving a car with no map, no GPS, and no destination. You might be moving, you might even be burning fuel, but you ain't going nowhere. You waking up every day, scrolling, eating, talking, working, but if you don't have direction, you're just existing, not living. You've got to stop living life on autopilot. Stop letting other people tell you where to go. Stop following the crowd. Because if you don't know where you're headed, you'll end up wherever life throws you. And trust me, that place is rarely where you want to be. The direction is what gives life meaning. Purpose is what wakes you up at 4 in the morning when everybody else is sleeping. When you got direction, every step you take is intentional. Every move is calculated. Every sacrifice makes sense because you know exactly why you're doing it. Don't you dare waste your life drifting. Don't you dare waste your energy chasing things that don't matter. Get clear on where you want to go. Get serious about who you want to become. And then commit every ounce of energy you got to that vision. But life without direction is death in slow motion. But life with purpose, life with vision, that's unstoppable. That's legendary. That's where greatness lives. Listen to me. There are so many people walking around right now living their lives as if movement itself equals progress. Let me tell you something. It doesn't. You can be busy all day, running around, doing this, doing that, hustling, grinding, and yet if you don't know where you're going, you are moving in circles. You're expending energy, you're giving effort, but the truth is, it's wasted. It's wasted because effort without direction is just motion. And motion alone will not get you anywhere. You can work hard, you can stay busy, but if you are not intentional about your action, you are essentially spinning your wheels in the mud. You see, people confuse activity with productivity, and that confusion is what keeps them stuck in the same place year after year. They're tired at the end of the day, yes, but they haven't really accomplished anything meaningful because they have no direction. Let me break it down for you. Movement without direction is like throwing punches in the air without aiming at a target. You might be moving your arms, you might be throwing a lot of force, but if you're not aiming at something, if you don't know what you're trying to hit, what you're really doing is just expending energy. You might feel like you're doing something important. You might even impress some people with how hard you're working. But in the end, the results are zero. And life will not reward zero results. Life will not reward wasted effort. Life rewards results. It rewards those who are intentional, those who know where they are going, and those who align their actions with their goals. Too many people get up every morning and do things they think they're supposed to do. They go to work because everyone else goes to work. They study because they think they should study. They try to keep up with friends, trends, and social media because everyone else is doing it. And they feel exhausted at the end of the day, yet they don't have any tangible progress to show for it. Why? Because movement without direction is wasted energy. Just because you are busy does not mean you are productive. Just because you are running does not mean you are moving forward. You've got to know where you're going. You've got to have a target, a purpose, a vision, a destination. Otherwise, you are just a hamster on a wheel running fast, spinning your legs, but getting nowhere. Think about a car for a moment. You can step on the gas, you can rev the engine, you can push that car as fast as it can go. But if your wheels aren't pointing in the right direction, you will not reach your destination. You might go in circles, you might crash, or you might end up somewhere you never intended to go. That's exactly what happens when you live life without direction. You have energy, you have talent, you have potential, but you are scattered. You are everywhere and nowhere at the same time. You are busy but not focused. You are tired but not fulfilled. And I'm telling you right now, God, the universe, destiny, they will not reward you for wasted energy. Here's the thing about energy. Energy is a resource. Time is a resource. Talent is a resource. And when you spend those resources aimlessly, you are robbing yourself of the chance to achieve greatness. People think that effort alone is enough, but I'm here to tell you, effort alone will get you nothing if it's not aligned with direction. You have to combine effort with vision. You have to combine hustle with strategy. You have to combine grind with intention. That is how you turn movement into progress. That is how you turn energy into results. And that is how you turn your life from chaos into purpose. Now, I know some of you are saying, but ET, I'm working hard, I'm doing my best. Isn't that enough? I'm not taking away from your effort. I am acknowledging your hustle. I see that you are putting in work, but work without a plan is like planting seeds in the middle of a desert. You might be watering them. You might be hoping for rain. But if the conditions aren't right, if you don't know what you're trying to grow, if you don't have a map for your garden, all the effort is going to go to waste. And that's heartbreaking because you are capable of more. You have greatness inside of you, but it will not be unleashed until your movement is directed, until your energy is focused, until your actions are aligned with a vision that is bigger than yourself. Let me tell you about focus. Focus is the bridge between effort and result. You can have all the motivation in the world. You can be inspired every day. You can listen to speeches, read books, watch videos. All that is fine. But if your energy is scattered, you will not move forward. Direction gives you focus. Direction gives you a target. Direction gives you a reason to wake up early, to push through the pain, to sacrifice temporary pleasure for long-term gain. Without direction, focus is impossible. Without direction, you are just wandering, hoping that life will eventually give you what you want, when in reality, life doesn't work that way. Life will test you, it will challenge you, it will challenge you, it will throw obstacles in your path, and if you don't know where you are going, you will crumble. You will give up. You will quit. I want you to think about the people who succeed, the people who leave a legacy, the people who are remembered. Do you think they were just moving for the sake of moving? No. They had direction. They had a purpose. They knew where they wanted to go. And even when it was hard, even when it seemed impossible, they kept pushing because every step they took had a meaning. Every move was intentional. Every ounce of energy was directed toward a specific goal. That is what separates winners from losers, leaders from followers, dreamers from doers. Movement without direction will never get you there. Let's be real. Life will try to distract you. The world will try to pull you in 100 different directions. Social media, peer pressure, fears, doubts, insecurity. All of these things will try to steal your focus, drain your energy, and make you busy for no reason. And if you are not careful, if you don't have a clear direction, you will fall for it. You will be moving, yes, but moving nowhere. Busy, yes, but achieving nothing. Exhausted, yes, but unfulfilled. And I won't fight that for you. You deserve more than that. You deserve a life where every step counts, where every action propels you closer to your dream, where your energy is invested and multiplied, not wasted, spent in vain. Now, here's what I want you to do. I want you to stop. I want you to reflect. I want you to think about your life. Where are you going? What is your goal? What is your vision? Who do you want to become? Until you can answer those questions, all your movement is wasted. You have to define your destination. You have to write it down. You have to see it clearly in your mind. And then, and only then, can you start moving with intention. Every step you take will be purposeful. Every sacrifice you make will make sense. Every ounce of energy you spend will bring you close to your dream. Let me tell you this. Your life is precious. Your time is limited. Every day you wake up and wander aimlessly is a day you will never get back. Every wasted effort is an opportunity lost. You cannot afford to move without direction. You cannot afford to be busy without progress. You must know your destination. You must have a plan. You must move with purpose. That is the only way to ensure that your energy is invested, not wasted. That is the only way to turn your dreams into reality. So stop spinning your wheels. Stop moving just to move. Stop doing things that don't matter. Get clear. Get focused. Get intentional. Decide where you are going, why you are going, and how you are going to get there. And then, and only then, put in the work. Put in the sweat. Put in the sacrifices. Because when movement meets direction, that is when magic happens. That's when results are born. That is when you transform your life from ordinary to extraordinary. That is when you finally start living, not just existing. Movement without direction is wasted energy. But movement with purpose, movement with vision, that is unstoppable. That is powerful. That is powerful. That is life-changing. And that, my friend, is exactly what you need to start today. Stop drifting. Stop wandering. Stop being busy for the sake of being busy. Focus, direct aim, and move. Because your greatness is waiting on the other side of intentional act. Your dreams are waiting on the other side of focused energy. Your life is waiting. but only if you stop wasting your energy and start moving with direction. Without purpose, discipline dies. People think discipline is something you can just pick up like a skill, like a hobby. Like a hobby is something that just happens when you decide to get serious. But the truth is, discipline cannot survive in a vacuum. It cannot live in emptiness. Discipline is fueled by purpose. Purpose is the fire. Purpose is the reason. Purpose is the why behind the what. Without it, you can wake up early for a week. You can grind for a month. You can sacrifice for a season. But eventually, you're going to stop. You're going to fade. Because discipline without purpose has no foundation, no anchor, nothing to hold it in place when life gets hard. Think about it. How many times have you told yourself you were going to do something? You were going to start the diet. You were going to hit the gym. You were going to study more. You were going to save money. And at first you were fired up. You were disciplined for a week, maybe two, maybe even a month. But then the motivation faded, and so did the discipline. Why? Because there was no deeper purpose attached to it. You were relying on willpower, on emotion, on hype. And when the emotion died, the discipline died with it. Discipline is not about feelings. It's about fuel. And the only fuel strong enough to keep it alive is purpose. Purpose is what makes you consistent. Purpose is what keeps you locked in when you don't feel like it. Purpose is what whispers to you at 4 a.m. When your alarm goes off, get up, this matters. Purpose is what tells you to keep running when your legs are burning. Purpose is what makes you say no to distractions, no to temptations, no to the easy way out. Without purpose, there's nothing to fight for. Without purpose, there's nothing to commit to. Without purpose, discipline is temporary, weak, fragile. But when you attach discipline to a purpose bigger than yourself, it becomes unbreakable. Discipline is sacrifice, and nobody sacrifices for nothing. Nobody gives up sleep, comfort, and pleasure just to suffer. People only sacrifice when they believe the reward is worth it, when the goal means something, when the vision is clear. That's why purpose is the lifeline of discipline. Purpose gives meaning to the pain. Purpose gives value to the sacrifice. Purpose makes the discipline worth it. Without it, discipline will not last. Because discipline is not a punishment, it's a trade. You are trading what you want now for what you want most. And if you don't know what you want most, if you don't have a purpose, the trade never makes sense. And eventually, you stop making it. Look at the greats. Athletes, leaders, visionaries. They weren't disciplined just because they liked hard work. No, they had a purpose. The athlete wanted to win championships. The student wanted to change their family's future. The entrepreneur wanted to create something that would outlive them. Purpose gave them a reason to wake up early, to practice when no one's watching, to work while others party, to push past exhaustion. Their discipline wasn't random. It was targeted. It was fueled by a purpose so strong that quitting was never an option. When you lack purpose, discipline feels like prison. It feels like restriction, like punishment, like suffering with no end. That's why so many people start but never finish. That's why resolutions fail. That's why plans crumble. Because they're trying to force discipline with no foundation, no fire, no vision. You can't just grit your teeth forever. You can't rely on hype forever. At some point, discipline must be connected to something that matters to you at your core, something that touches your soul, something that makes the sacrifice meaningful. That's purpose. Purpose is also clarity. It tells you what's worth your energy and what's not. When you have a purpose, you don't waste time on nonsense. You don't say yes to everything. You don't chase every shiny thing. Discipline becomes easier, not because the work is easier, but because the distractions are less tempting. Purpose creates focus, and focus strengthens discipline. That's why people without purpose are scattered. They're everywhere, doing everything, trying to keep up with everyone. And because of that, they can't be disciplined. They lack consistency because they lack clarity. But when you know what your life is about, when you know what you were born to do, when you know the mission, discipline becomes natural. Understand this. Purpose is the difference between quitting and continuing. Quitting is easy when the reason is small, but when the reason is huge, when the purpose is deep, when the vision is bigger than your comfort, quitting feels impossible. You can't give up because the purpose won't let you. It drags you forward even when you don't want to move. That's why people with purpose are unstoppable. It's not that they won't feel tired. It's not that they don't get discouraged. It's that their purpose won't allow them to quit. Their discipline is tied to something unshakable. If you want lasting discipline, you need to ask yourself, what am I doing this for? What's the bigger picture? Who am I serving? Who benefits if I keep going? Who suffers if I stop? Because purpose isn't always about you. Sometimes your purpose is your family, your children, your community, your legacy. When the purpose is bigger than you, discipline becomes stronger than you. It becomes automatic. It becomes ingrained. You don't have to force it every day because it flows from who you are and what you're about. Let me give you a picture. Imagine two people running a marathon. One is running just to run. The other is running to raise money for a sick child who needs surgery. Which one do you think is going to keep running when their legs are on fire? When they hit the wall, when everything in their body says stop? It's the one with purpose. Because pain without purpose breaks you, but pain with purpose drives you. And that is the secret to discipline. It's not about being strong every day. It's about having a reason so powerful that even on your weakest days, you keep going. Discipline is hard. Let's not sugarcoat it. It means saying no when yes feels good. It means delaying gratification. It means enduring pain. But when you connect it to purpose, it doesn't just feel like pain anymore. It feels like progress. Every sacrifice becomes a step towards something meaningful. Every moment of resistance becomes proof that you're serious about your vision. Without purpose, it's just suffering. With purpose, it's transformation. So stop trying to manufacture discipline out of thin air. Stop trying to copy someone else's grind. Stop trying to force habits that have no meaning to you. Instead, dig deep and find your why. Find the thing that keeps you awake at night. Find the dream that makes your heart race. Find the mission that makes every sacrifice worth it. Once you have that, discipline won't feel like punishment. It will feel like alignment. You won't just endure it, you will embrace it because every act of discipline will be proof that you're living your purpose. Without purpose, discipline dies. It withers. It fades. But with purpose, discipline lives. It thrives. It grows stronger with every challenge. Purpose is the oxygen that discipline breathes, the foundation it stands on, the fuel it burns. You can't fake it. You can't skip it. You can't replace it. If you want to live a disciplined life, if you want to achieve greatness, if you want to build something that lasts, you must begin with purpose. And once you find it, hold on to it, protect it, nurture it, and let it drive every action you take. Because when purpose and discipline unite, nothing can stop you. Drifting leads to regret. When you live your life without direction, when you allow yourself to simply flow from one day to the next with no real plan, no true intention, and no defined purpose, you are setting yourself up for one of the most painful emotions a human being can ever experience: regret. Regret is that heavy feeling that comes when you look back on your life and realize you could have done more, you should have done more, but you didn't. And the truth about drifting is that it feels harmless in the moment. It feels easy. It feels like no big deal. You tell yourself, I'll figure it out tomorrow. I'll get serious next year. I'll focus when the time is right. But the problem is, drifting steals time silently. Days turn into weeks, turn into months, and before you know it, years have passed, and you are still in the same place, wishing you had taken life more seriously when you had the chance. Regret doesn't come in the early stages of drifting. At first, drifting feels comfortable. It feels like freedom. You wake up, do whatever feels good, avoid responsibilities, chase pleasure, follow the crowd and let life take you wherever it wants. You tell yourself you're enjoying life, you're being carefree, you're young, you got time. But what you don't see is that while you're drifting, while you're being casual about your future, life is moving on without you. Opportunities are passing. Potential is being wasted. And every moment you let go by without purpose is a moment you'll never get back. One of the worst parts about regret is that it shows up when it's too late to do anything about it. You don't regret drifting while you're doing it, because in the moment it feels like relaxation. You regret it when you wake up one day and realize you're 40, 50, 60 years old. And the dreams you once had are gone. The energy you once had is gone. The chances you once had are gone. You regret it when you realize you spent so much of your life reacting instead of creating, floating instead of fighting, existing instead of living. And in that moment, regret is heavier than any discipline you could have endured, heavier than any sacrifice you could have made, heavier than any pain you could have chosen to grow through. Discipline weighs ounces, but regret weighs tons. That's the truth people don't understand until it's too late. Yes, discipline is uncomfortable. Yes, focus requires sacrifice. Yes, living with intention means saying no to things that are fun in the short term. But all of that temporary discomfort is nothing compared to the lifelong agony of looking back and knowing you could have been more, but you chose less. Regret doesn't just hurt, it haunts you. It stays with you. It whispers in your ear, you had the chance, but you wasted it. You had the gift, but you buried it. You had the time, but you squandered it. And the worst part is, by the time you feel it, you can't go back. Drifting isn't always obvious. It doesn't always look like laziness. Sometimes drifting looks like busyness. You can fill your days with meaningless activity, with things that keep you occupied but don't move you forward. You can work jobs you don't care about, hang out with people who don't inspire you, spend hours on entertainment that adds nothing to your growth. You can be busy every day and still be drifting, because drifting is about doing nothing. It's about doing the wrong things or doing things with no purpose attached. And the outcome is the same, regret. Think about it. Every person who ever looked back on their life with regret had one thing in common. They drifted. They drifted away from their dreams. They drifted away from their values. They drifted away from their values. They drifted away from their purpose. They thought they had time. They thought they could delay. They thought life would wait for them. But life doesn't wait. Life moves forward whether you're ready or not. And if you're not intentional, life will move you wherever it wants. And most of the time, that's not where you want to go. The danger of drifting is that it's comfortable. It requires no effort, no thought, no sacrifice. But comfort is a trap. Comfort lulls you into passivity, into procrastination, into postponing the things you know you should be doing. And the longer you stay in that comfort zone, the harder it becomes to break free. Then one day, you wake up and regret is staring you in the face. You regret the years you wasted being comfortable. You regret the times you chose easy over meaningful. You regret the moments you ignored the voice inside you telling you to step up, to get serious, to stop drifting and start living with purpose. Regret has a way of showing you the cost of drifting. It shows you the relationships you could have built but didn't. It shows you the opportunities you could have taken but ignored. It shows you the potential you had but never used. It shows you the life you could have lived but chose not to. And once you see it, once you realize it, you can't unsee it. That's why regret is so heavy. It's a weight that presses on your heart and your mind, a constant reminder that you had a chance and wasted it. But here's the truth. Regret is preventable. You don't have to drift. You don't have to waste your energy. You don't have to live a life that ends with looking back in sorrow. You can make a choice today to stop drifting and start moving with intention. You can choose discipline over ease. You can choose purpose over passivity. You can choose growth over comfort. And when you do, you eliminate regret before it even begins. You trade the pain of discipline now for the freedom of fulfillment later. You trade drifting for direction, and direction is what gives life meaning. You gotta understand that every day you drift is a day you'll never get back. Every hour wasted is an hour gone forever. Time is the most valuable currency you have, and drifting is the fastest way to spend it foolishly. Don't let your future self look back at your present self with anger, with sadness, with disappointment. Don't let your older self say, if only I had tried harder, if only I had taken it seriously, if only I had stopped drifting. Live in such a way now that when you look back later, you smile instead of cry. You feel gratitude instead of regret. You feel pride instead of shame. People always say, one day I'll get serious. But one day is not a day of the week. One day never comes. The only day you have is today, right now. Drifting is putting your life on. Drifting is waiting for perfect conditions. Drifting is hoping life will sort itself out, but it won't. You have to take control. You have to create direction. You have to define your path. Otherwise, regret is inevitable. So stop drifting. Stop living like you have unlimited time. Stop wasting energy on things that don't matter. Decide today what your purpose is. Decide today what direction your life will take. And then move toward it with discipline, with passion, with urgency, because the cost of drifting is too high. The pain of regret is too great. You don't want to look back and realize you lived 50% of your life on autopilot. You don't want to realize you had the chance to be great, but settle for average. Drifting leads to regret. but direction leads to fulfillment. Drifting leads to emptiness, but purpose leads to joy. Drifting leads to a wasted life, but intentional living leads to a life well lived. The choice is yours. Every day, you are either drifting toward regret or driving toward destiny. And the difference comes down to one thing: direction. Choose it now before it's too late. Choose it while you still have time. Because the only thing worse than drifting is waking up one day and realizing you drifted too far, and now regret is all you have left. Clarity creates confidence. When you know exactly who you are, where you are going, and why you are doing what you are doing, fear begins to lose its power. Most people walk around uncertain, unsure of themselves, unsure of their choices, unsure of their future, and that uncertainty is what makes them weak. That uncertainty is what makes them hesitant. That uncertainty is what allows fear, doubt, and insecurity to creep in and take over. But when you have clarity, when you can see your destination clearly in your mind, when you understand the steps you need to take, when you know your why so deeply that nothing can shake it, you begin to move with confidence. You speak with confidence. You act with confidence. You live with confidence. Clarity is the root. Confidence is the fruit. Without clarity, confidence cannot survive. Think about driving a car at night. If the windshield is dirty, if the headlights are dim, if the fog is thick, you're gonna drive cautiously, hesitantly, nervously. You can't see what's ahead, and so you creep forward with fear. That's how most people live their lives, with no clarity. Their windshield is dirty with distraction. Their headlights are dim with confusion, and the fog of doubt covers everything. But when the windshield is clean, when the headlights are bright, when the road is clear, you don't hesitate. You don't creep. You drive forward with confidence because you can see the path. That is the power of clarity. Clarity doesn't just tell you where to go, it tells you where not to go. It removes the noise. It eliminates distraction. When you are unclear, everything looks attractive. Every opportunity seems worth pursuing. Every distraction feels tempting, and every person's opinion influences you. You waste time chasing things that don't matter because you don't know what matters most. But when you have clarity, the decision-making becomes simple. You don't waste energy wondering if something is for you because you already know what aligns with your vision and what doesn't. Clarity gives you focus, and focus builds confidence. You can stand tall in your decisions because you know exactly why you're making them. Confidence is not arrogance. Confidence is certainty. It is the inner knowing that what you are doing is right for you, that the direction you are heading is aligned with your purpose. That certainty can only come from clarity. Too many people try to fake confidence. They puff out their chest, they talk loud, they act bold, but inside they are unsure. And eventually that lack of clarity will expose them. Real confidence cannot be faked. Real confidence comes from being clear about your vision, your values, and your purpose. When you know your path, you don't have to prove anything to anyone. You don't have to compete with everyone around you. You don't have to compare yourself because you know where you are going and why. That is real confidence. Clarity also builds resilience. When you are unclear, every obstacle feels like a reason to quit. Every challenge feels like a sign that you should stop. But when you are clear about your destination, obstacles become nothing more than detour. You don't lose confidence because you know where you're headed. You just adjust your route. It's like a GPS. When you know the destination, a roadblock doesn't shake you. You simply reroute and keep moving. That's the strength that clarity gives you. It allows you to keep your confidence even when things don't go as planned because the vision remains unchanged. Fear thrives in uncertainty. Doubt feeds on confusion. Insecurity grows in the absence of clarity. When you don't know who you are or where you're going, you second guess yourself. You hesitate. You procrastinate. You shrink back from opportunities. You say no to things you should say yes to and yes to things you should say no to. But when you gain clarity, fear loses its grip. Doubt becomes weaker. Insecurity fades because you know and knowing gives you power. Knowing gives you courage. Knowing gives you the strength to act boldly, even when the circumstances are tough. Clarity doesn't just happen. It requires work. I have to ask yourself the hard question. Who am I? What do I value? What do I want? What do I refuse to accept? What am I willing to sacrifice for? Until you answer those questions, you will lack clarity, and without clarity, you will lack confidence. That's why so many people feel stuck, insecure, and unfulfilled. They never take the time to get clear about their purpose, and so they wander. They drift. They move without conviction. And in that space, fear dominates them. But the moment you get clear, everything changes. The moment you define your why, your confidence begins to rise. The moment you see the vision clearly, your energy shifts, your posture changes, your actions align. Clarity creates direction, and direction creates momentum. When you have momentum, your confidence grows even more because you can see the results of your clarity. Small wins stack up, progress becomes visible, and progress builds belief. This is why people who know their purpose seem unstoppable. They may not have all the answers. They may not have all the resources, but they are clear. And that clarity gives them confidence that they will find a way. Clarity also changes the way others see you. People are drawn to leaders who know where they're going. People follow confidence. They trust people who are sure of themselves. And since clarity creates confidence, the clearer you are, the more influence you will have. Unclear people rarely inspire anyone. They may be nice, they may be talented, but if they're uncertain, people hesitate to follow them. But when you are clear, when you know your mission, when you speak with conviction, when you move with certainty, people feel it. They see it. They are drawn to it. Clarity is magnetic and confidence is contagious. You must also understand that clarity eliminates excuses. When you are unclear, excuses thrive. You tell yourself, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start. I don't know if this is the right time. Those excuses keep you stuck. But when you are clear, excuses have no place. You can't hide behind confusion. You can't stall with uncertainty. When you're clear, you know what needs to be done. And confidence gives you the courage to do it. Clarity also brings peace. When you're unclear, your mind is constantly racing. You overthink, you second guess, you stress about every decision. But clarity silences the noise. It simplifies life. It gives you a straight path to follow. And that simplicity creates calm. And when you're calm, your confidence shines even brighter because you are no longer fighting yourself internally. You are aligned, you are focused, you are grounded. The truth is, most people don't lack ability. They don't lack talent. They don't even lack opportunities. What they lack is clarity. And because they lack clarity, they lack confidence. And because they lack confidence, they never step into their full potential. They settle for less, not because they aren't capable more, but because they don't see themselves clearly enough to believe in what they can be. Clarity changes that. It shows you what's possible. It reminds you of your value. It gives you the vision to see a future worth fighting for and the confidence to pursue it relentlessly. Clarity creates confidence because it gives you vision, it gives you focus, it gives you certainty, and it eliminates fear. When you know you move differently, when you know you speak differently, when you know you live differently, and that knowing is what breeds confidence. Without clarity, you will always hesitate. With clarity, you will always rise. And that is why clarity is not optional. It is essential. If you want to live boldly, if you want to act fearlessly, if you want to pursue greatness with everything you have, you must first get clear. Because once you do, confidence will follow you everywhere you go. Discipline is the bridge between intention and achievement. You can dream, you can plan, you can talk about goals all day long, but without discipline, nothing happens. Discipline is what transforms desire into reality, what takes an idea out of your mind and turns into something tangible in the world. So many people have great intentions. They want to get in shape. They want to start a business. They want to save money. They want to grow spiritually. They want to build better relationships. But wanting is not enough. Intention without discipline is nothing more than wishful thinking. It is discipline that creates consistency, and consistency is the foundation of success. Discipline is doing what you said you would do long after the excitement of saying it has left you. Motivation is temporary. Inspiration fades. Emotion rises and falls. But discipline is steady. Discipline is reliable. Discipline is what carries you forward when you don't feel like moving. That's why the people who succeed aren't always the most talented, the smartest, or the most connected. They are often the ones who practice discipline every single day. The ones who showed up when it was boring, when it was hard, when it was inconvenient, when no one was watching. They kept doing the small necessary things over and over until success became inevitable. Discipline is not punishment, although it feels that way to people who resist it. Discipline is freedom. It is the freedom to live life on your own terms. Without discipline, you are a slave to your moves, a slave to your impulses, a slave to laziness, a slave to distractions. But when you master discipline, you take control. You no longer let your feelings dictate your future. You train your body and mind to obey your vision instead of your emotions. That is real freedom. Discipline gives you power because it gives you control over yourself. And the person who controls himself cannot be controlled by anyone else. Discipline requires sacrifice. You cannot have everything you want in the moment if you want something greater in the future. Success always costs something up front. The athlete sacrifices comfort, sleep, and indulgence to gain strength, speed, and victory. The entrepreneur sacrifices entertainment, stability, and sometimes even relationships to build their dream. The student sacrifices leisure and ease to study, learn, and create opportunities for tomorrow. Discipline is choosing between what you want now and what you want most, and that choice comes every single day. Without discipline, you will always choose what is easy, what is fun, what feels good in the moment. But with discipline, you will choose what moves you forward, even when it hurts. Discipline doesn't just build habits, it builds character. It builds character. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, your self-respect grows. Every time you wake up early when you don't want to, every time you go to the gym when you're tired, every time you save money, instead of wasting it, you prove to yourself that you are trustworthy, that you are reliable, that you are capable. And that builds confidence. The opposite is also true. Every time you break a promise to yourself, every time you give in to laziness, every time you abandon your commitments, your self-respect erodes. You begin to doubt yourself. You begin to lose confidence because deep down, you know you can't trust your own word. That's why discipline is not just about achieving goals. It's about becoming the kind of person who can be trusted by yourself, by others. Discipline creates momentum, and momentum creates results. At first, discipline feels heavy. It feels like pushing a huge rock uphill. Waking up early feels impossible. Sticking with a diet feels unbearable. Working on your craft feels exhausting. But over time, discipline turns into habit, and habit turns into momentum. The rock starts rolling downhill. What once required massive effort now becomes automatic. That is the beauty of discipline. If you stay consistent long enough, what was once hard becomes normal, and what was once normal becomes easy. This is how ordinary people achieve extraordinary things. Through the compounding power of disciplined action repeated over time. Discipline also separates the committed from the casual. Everyone says they want success until they realize what it requires. The casual ones quit when it gets uncomfortable. The committed ones stay because they have discipline. That's why discipline is rare, and that's why success is rare. Anyone can be disciplined for a day, a week, even a month. True discipline is measured in years, in decades, in lifetimes. That's what greatness demands. The world doesn't reward the person who starts the race fast. It rewards the one who has the discipline to finish strong. Discipline also applies to the mind. It is not just about what you do with your body. It is about what you allow yourself to think and believe. Mental discipline is training your thoughts, refusing to dwell on negativity, refusing to feed doubt, refusing to indulge excuses. Just as you discipline your body through diet and exercise, you discipline your mind through focus, gratitude, and resilience. Without mental discipline, external discipline will crumble because the mind controls everything. A disciplined mind produces disciplined action, and disciplined actions produce disciplined results. People often confuse discipline with perfection, but they are not the same. Discipline does not mean never failing. Discipline means getting back up every time you fail. Discipline means consistency, not flawlessness. You will slip, you will fall, you will make mistakes, but discipline ensures you don't stay down. Discipline ensures you recommit, refocus, and restart as many times as necessary. It's not about being perfect, it's about being persistent. Discipline gives structure to chaos. Life will always be unpredictable. Circumstances will change. People will disappoint you. Situations will arise that you didn't plan for. Without discipline, those changes knock you off course. But with discipline, you stay anchored. No matter what's happening around you, you keep your commitments. You may adjust your strategy. but you never abandon your principles. That's the strength of discipline. It grounds you when life gets unstable. Discipline is also the foundation of respect. People don't respect talkers, they respect doers. They don't respect those who make excuses. They respect those who show results, and results come from discipline. When people see that you are disciplined, that you keep showing up, that you keep working, that you keep pushing regardless of circumstances, they respect you. They may not like you, they may not agree with you, but they will respect your discipline because discipline is undeniable. Discipline creates balance because it prevents extremes. Without discipline, people binge, overindulge, procrastinate, and burn out. With discipline, you create routines, boundaries, and limits that protect your health, your relationships, and your goals. Discipline doesn't take away joy, it protects it. It ensures you enjoy life in the right way, at the right time, without destroying your future in the process. As core, discipline is self-love in action. It is telling yourself, I deserve better than my impulse is. I deserve better than laziness. I deserve better than mediocrity. Discipline is choosing your long-term well-being over your short-term comfort. Discipline is choosing the future version of yourself over the present version. Say, it is love for the person you are becoming, expressed through the sacrifices you make today. The truth is, you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your discipline. Anyone can dream big, but only disciplined people achieve big. Goals set the direction, discipline builds the road. Without discipline, goals are nothing more than words on paper. With discipline, goals become inevitable outcomes. That's why discipline is the bridge between intention and achievement. It is the daily practice, the quiet repetition, the unseen sacrifices that make the visible success possible. So when you look at anyone you admire, anyone who has achieved greatness, understand that behind the glory you see is the discipline you don't see. Behind every championship trophy, behind every successful business, behind every powerful legacy is the same invisible force, discipline. It may not be glamorous, it may not be exciting, but it is the deciding factor between the person who dreams and the person who does. And that's why discipline is everything. You cannot expect to reach greatness if you are not willing to sacrifice. Every dream, every vision, every purpose-driven life requires giving something up. The truth is simple but hard to accept. You can't say yes to everything and still expect to stay on course. Direction demands sacrifice because every choice you make either brings you closer to your purpose or pulls you further away from it. Many people fail not because they lack talent, not because they lack resources, but because they refuse to let go of the things that distract them, drain them, or keep them comfortable. You cannot climb a mountain while holding on to everything at the bottom. You have to release, you have to sacrifice, and you have to carry only what's necessary for the journey ahead. Sacrifice is the price of focus. If you want to achieve anything significant, you must be willing to eliminate the distractions that scatter your attention. Success doesn't come to the person who does everything halfway. It comes to the person who does the right things fully. That means you may need to sacrifice late nights of entertainment so you can wake up early and work. You may need to sacrifice being liked by everyone so you can stand firm in your vision. You may need to sacrifice comfort so you can grow stronger. Each yes to your purpose requires a no to something else. And the bigger your dream, the bigger the sacrifices required. People often want the rewards without the cost. They want success without discipline, recognition without effort, and impact without struggle. But that is not how life works. Every achievement has a price tag, and that tag is paid in sacrifice. The athlete sacrifices their body in training. The scholar sacrifices free time to study. The entrepreneur sacrifices security to build something new. The parent sacrifices personal desires to provide for their children. Sacrifice is woven into every story of greatness, and those unwilling to sacrifice will always watch others live the life they wanted but never fought for. Sacrifice also reveals what truly matters to you. You can say you want success, you can say you want growth, but the question is, what are you willing to give up for it? Because if you are not willing to let go of distractions, then your words mean nothing. The depth of your commitment is proven by the depth of your sacrifice. When you sacrifice sleep to chase your dream, when you sacrifice comfort to build your future, when you sacrifice approval to stand by your values, That is when the world knows you are serious. Sacrifice is evidence of direction. It is proof that your dream is not just talk, but a non-negotiable reality you are pursuing with everything you have. Sacrifice also separates the temporary from the timeless. Many people chase trends, quick fixes, and shortcuts because they want results without sacrifice. But anything gained without sacrifice is rarely sustainable. Easy come, easy go. When you don't pay the price, you don't value the reward. But when you sacrifice, when you bleed for it, when you cry for it, when you give up other options for it, then you will fight to protect it. Sacrifice makes success sacred because you know exactly what it costs you to earn it. Sacrifice is not comfortable, but comfort is the enemy of growth. Growth requires stretching, and stretching requires discomfort. If you always choose what is easy, you will remain where you are. But when you embrace sacrifice, you step into the discomfort that leads to transformation. The gym hurts, but it builds strength. Waking up early stings, but it builds consistency. Saying no to toxic relationships feels lonely, but it opens the door to healthier ones. Every sacrifice may sting in a moment, but over time it becomes the very foundation of your success. Sacrifice also requires vision. Without a clear direction, sacrifice feels like loss. But with direction, sacrifice feels like investment. When you know where you are going, giving up temporary pleasures for permanent purpose makes sense. A student who studies late into the night knows they are investing in their future. The entrepreneur who reinvests profits instead of spending them knows they are building something lasting. The person who trains their body, controls their mind, and sharpens their skills knows they are preparing for opportunities ahead. Sacrifice without vision feels empty, but sacrifice with vision feels powerful because you understand the exchange. You are giving up what doesn't matter for what matters most. Sacrifice requires courage because not everyone will understand your choices. People will laugh, criticize, or even walk away when you sacrifice what they value for something bigger. They may call you obsessive, extreme, or unrealistic. But you cannot live by their standards if you want to reach your destiny. Their approval cannot be your direction. If you want to live a life that stands out, you have to be willing to sacrifice fitting in. That means fewer parties, fewer distractions, fewer meaningless conversations, and more focus on what moves you forward. Greatness is lonely because sacrifice often separates you from the crowd. But it is that very separation that leads to extraordinary results. Sacrifice builds resilience. When you give up easy paths and embrace harder ones, you grow stronger. When you sacrifice quick gratification for long-term success, you develop patience. When you sacrifice comfort for discipline, you toughen your spirit. Every sacrifice you make is like lifting a weight. At first it feels heavy, but over time it makes you stronger. Sacrifice trains you to endure and to persist, to keep going when others quit. It prepares you for the obstacles ahead because you've already proven that you can give up something valuable for something greater. Sacrifice also teaches gratitude. When you work hard for something, when you give up pleasures, when you endure struggles, you don't take your success for granted. You appreciate every step of the journey. The person who sacrificed years of practice values every performance. The person who sacrificed nights of study treasures their diploma. The person who sacrificed comfort to build a business values every milestone. Sacrifice teaches you to honor the blessings you receive because you know exactly what it costs to achieve them. The truth is, sacrifice is unavoidable. If you refuse to sacrifice for your goals, you will sacrifice your goals for comfort. If you refuse to sacrifice your distractions, you will sacrifice your progress. If you refuse to sacrifice bad habits, you will sacrifice your health, time, and your future. One way or another, something must be given up. The difference is whether you sacrifice now for the future you want or sacrifice your future for the comfort you cling to today. Sacrifice is not about losing. It's about choosing. It's about choosing what matters most over what matters now. It is about choosing purpose over pleasure, growth over comfort, destiny over distraction. Every yes is a choice. And we know it's a choice. The life you end up living will be shaped not just by what you said yes to, but more importantly, by what you were willing to say no to. So if you want to live with direction, if you want to achieve greatness, you must embrace sacrifice as a daily practice. Wake up willing to let go of what doesn't serve you. Wake up ready to make decisions that hurt now, but heal later. Wake up committed to exchanging temporary ease for eternal impact. Because sacrifice is not the enemy of success, it's the doorway to it. And the people who are willing to sacrifice the most are the ones who achieve the most. Pain without purpose breaks people, but pain with purpose builds them. Every struggle, every trial, every challenge feels heavier when you can't connect it to a greater reason. When you face hardship without direction, it feels like meaningless suffering. You start to ask yourself, oh, why me? Why now? What's the point? That mindset drains your strength and leaves you hopeless. But when you have purpose, the same pain transforms. It becomes fuel. It becomes a teacher. It becomes a stepping stone. Purpose gives pain a reason. And when you understand the reason, you can endure almost anything. Think about it. The athlete doesn't enjoy waking up before sunrise, running until their body aches, or practicing until exhaustion. But they endure that pain because the purpose is clear. The championship, the victory, the legacy. The student doesn't enjoy endless hours of study, late nights, or the stress of exams. But they endure that pain because the purpose is clear. The degree, the career, the opportunities. A parent doesn't always enjoy sleepless nights, endless responsibilities, and constant sacrifices. But they endure that pain because the purpose is clear. Raising their children, giving them a better life. Leaving behind love and security. Without purpose, pain is unbearable. But with purpose, pain becomes a path to progress. Purpose changes your perspective. Without it, pain feels like punishment. With it, pain feels like preparation. You start to realize that the struggle is not there to destroy you, but to shape you, refine you, and strengthen you for what's coming next. Every setback becomes a setup. Every obstacle becomes an opportunity. Every challenge becomes a chapter in your story of growth. When you have purpose, you stop asking why me, and start saying, try me. Because you know the pain is not wasted. It's working for you, not against you. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. Everyone goes through challenges, but the way you interpret that challenge determines your outcome. If you see pain as random and meaningless, you will suffer endlessly. But if you see pain as connected to your vision, you will endure it with resilience. That's why people who live with direction often outlast those who don't. They may face the same storms, the same losses, the same hardships, but because they have purpose, they can hold on longer. They can withstand pressure because they know what they are holding on. Purpose doesn't remove the pain, but it gives you the strength to survive it. Purpose gives you patience with pain. When you're lost, every delay feels unbearable. Every failure feels fine. Every hardship feels endless. But when you know your purpose, you understand that pain is part of the process. You don't expect greatness to come overnight. You don't expect results without resistance. You don't expect success without struggle. Purpose allows you to see the bigger picture. It reminds you that what you're going through now is not the end of the story, but just a chapter. And when you see pain as a chapter, you can turn the page instead of closing the book. Purpose transforms pain into passion. The same fire that could burn you becomes the fire that drives you. The same difficulty that could break you becomes the difficulty that builds you. Purpose allows you to channel the energy of pain into something productive. Instead of wasting energy on complaining or quitting, you invest in creating, improving, and advancing. History is full of people who took painful experiences and turned them into powerful missions. Leaders, inventors, artists, and change makers often began with personal struggles, but because they found purpose, their pain birthed solutions that helped the world. When you embrace purpose, pain humbles you, but it doesn't paralyze you. It teaches you empathy because you understand struggle firsthand. It teaches you gratitude because you appreciate blessings more deeply after hardship. It teaches you strength because you discover you can handle more than you thought. Pain without purpose makes you bitter, but pain with purpose makes you better. You become wiser, stronger, and more compassionate, not in spite of your struggles, but because of them. Purpose gives pain direction. Without it, you wander in circles, repeating the same mistakes, living in frustration. With it, you learn, you grow, you adapt. Every failure teaches you something. Every setback sharpens you. Every disappointment redirects you. Purpose turns pain into a teacher rather than a tormentor. Instead of asking why is this happening to me, you start asking, what is this teaching me? That shift changes everything. Pain becomes less of an enemy and more of an ally, guiding you to your destiny. Purpose also strengthens your endurance. When you know your why, you can survive almost anyhow. That's why two people can go through the same hardship and respond completely differently. One person collapses under the weight, while the other person pushes through and emerges strong. The difference is not in the pain itself, but in the purpose attached to it. If you know your pain is temporary and your purpose is eternal, you can keep going even when everything in you wants to stop. Purpose doesn't eliminate the difficulty, but it gives you a reason to persist through it. Pain without purpose makes you quit too soon. You give up on dreams, relationships, or goals because the road feels too hard. But with purpose, you don't quit. You adapt, you endure, you keep moving. Purpose reminds you that the sacrifice is worth it, that the hardship is temporary, that the reward is on the other side. It keeps you from throwing away your future just because your present feels heavy. Purpose whispers, keep going. It will all make sense soon. Purpose turns wounds into wisdom. The scars you carry become reminders of your resilience. The failures you endure become lessons that guide your future decision. The heartbreaks you survive become the compassion you offer others. When you live with purpose, even your deepest pains become part of your strength. Instead of being ashamed of your struggles, you recognize them as proof that you overcame, that you survived, that you grew. Pain with purpose becomes your testimony, your evidence that you can handle more than most. Purpose also protects you from despair. Life will test you with moments so dark that quitting feels easier than continuing. Without purpose, those moments can destroy you. But with purpose, you have hope even in the valley. You remind yourself that pain is not permanent, that struggle is not the end, that this season will pass. Purpose is the anchor that keeps you steady when life's storms try to throw you off course. It's the reminder that your suffering is not meaningless, but a part of something bigger than yourself. Ultimately, purpose gives pain redemption. It takes what was meant to break you and turns it into something that builds you. It takes what was meant to silence you and turns it into a message that inspires others. It takes what was meant to stop you and uses it to strengthen you. That's why people who live with purpose often shine the brightest, because their light was forged in darkness, their strength was forged in struggle, and their wisdom was forged in pain. Pain without purpose is wasted, but pain with purpose is priceless. It refines you, it molds you, it strengthens you, and it pushes you toward the life you were meant to live. The difference between those who are crushed by pain and those who are carried by it is not the size of the pain, but the size of the purpose behind it. If you can find meaning in your struggle, you can survive anything. If you can attach purpose to your pain, nothing can stop you. Because once you know the reason, you can endure the season. And when the season passes, you will come out not weaker, but stronger. Not broken, but unbreakable. Life is not about drifting through time, waiting for something to magically happen. It is about stepping into the unknown with purpose, courage, and intentionality. When you allow life to move you without making decisions, you find yourself in places you never intended to be. But when you take control and live with direction, you realize that each day is an opportunity to design the life you want. Living with direction means that you are not just reacting to circumstances, but instead actively choosing how to respond, where to go, and who to become. It is the difference between floating aimlessly in a river and steering your own boat toward the destination you desire. Without direction, distractions become your default guide, and distractions are merciless. They will steal your time, rob you of your energy, and leave you with regret. But with direction, every choice aligns with your vision. Every effort compounds toward progress, and every day moves you closer to becoming the person you were meant to be. Having direction in life doesn't mean knowing every single step or having a perfect plan. It simply means that you are intentional about where you're going. It's about asking yourself, what kind of life do I want to live? What kind of legacy do I want to leave? What kind of person do I want to become? Those questions create clarity, and clarity provides power. When you have clarity, you don't get caught up in comparing yourself to others because you are too busy walking your own path. You don't waste energy worrying about every opinion because you know the direction of your journey matters more than their judgment. Direction gives you confidence even when the road is uncertain because you know why you're walking it. Living with direction requires discipline, and discipline is often uncomfortable. There will be days when you don't feel like working toward your goals, days when it feels easier to settle or to give up. But discipline is about doing what needs to be done even when the feelings aren't there. It is about reminding yourself that your purpose is bigger than your mood. The difference between those who succeed and those who stay stuck often comes down to whether they let temporary feeling determine their permanent direction. With direction, discipline becomes your compass, ensuring that you don't wander off course when distractions or discouragement try to pull you away. Another aspect of direction is focus. In a world filled with endless noise, it is easy to become distracted by everything that glitters but is not gold. Social media, entertainment, and the opinions of others can make you chase after things that look appealing but add no value to your life. But when you live with direction, you learn to say no to the distractions and yes to the mission. You understand that every yes to something meaningless is a no to something important. Focus requires sacrifice, but that sacrifice pays off when you look back and realize that you invested your time and energy into things that truly matter. Direction also gives you resilience. Life will throw obstacles in your path, and if you have no sense of where you are going, those obstacles will feel like reasons to quit. But when you have direction, you see obstacles as detours, not dead ends. You see failure as a lesson, not a label. You understand that setbacks are part of the process and that persistence will eventually lead to progress. People with direction don't avoid hardship. They endure it because they know the journey is worth it. They don't allow temporary pain to cause permanent paralysis. Living with direction means living with intention in every area of your life, your relationships, your career, your health, your faith, and your personal growth. It means setting goals and aligning your daily actions with those goals. It means making choices not just for the moment, but for the long-term vision. If you want to be healthy, direction means you discipline yourself to eat right and exercise consistently. If you want meaningful relationships, direction means you invest time and energy into building trust, love, and communication. If you want success in your career, direction means you show up prepared, consistent and committed to excellence even when others take shortcuts. It is important to remember that direction is not about speed, but about consistency. Too many people rush through life trying to achieve everything overnight. But direction teaches patience because it is about moving steadily toward your goals rather than sprinting aimlessly. Progress is not always flashy, but small, consistent steps add up over time. The person who walks steadily in the right direction will always surpass the one who sprints without a map. Ultimately, living with direction is about ownership. It is about refusing to blame circumstances, other people, or your past for where you are in life. It is about realizing that you hold the power to shape your future through the decisions you make today. Life is not something that happens to you. It's something you create with your choices, your habits, and your mindset. When you live with direction, you stop waiting for opportunities and start creating them. You stop waiting for permission and start moving forward. The truth is, time is the most valuable resource you have, and it is limited. Every day you live without direction is a day you cannot get back. But every day you live with direction brings you closer to fulfilling your purpose and leaving a lasting impact. Direction gives your life meaning, and meaning makes the struggle worthwhile. It turns ordinary days into opportunities and ordinary people into extraordinary leaders. When you live with direction, you don't just exist, you thrive. You don't just dream, you do. You don't just hope, you act. And in the end, you don't just leave memories, you leave a legacy. Life is a journey that demands more than just existing. It requires intentional living, a sense of purpose, and the courage to walk with direction. Everything we've reflected on points back to one central truth. Without direction, life becomes a blur of wasted potential, missed opportunities, and silent regrets. People often wonder why they feel empty, why they feel stuck, or why despite their efforts, nothing seems to change. The reality is not that they lack ability, but that they lack direction. A car with a full tank of gas is useless if the driver doesn't know where to go, and a person with talent, gifts, and opportunity will waste it all without clarity and focus. That is why the conclusion of everything we've discussed is simple yet powerful. You must live with intention. You must choose to take control of your life, and you must walk with direction. Life is not going to slow down for you to figure it out. The days will keep passing, time will keep moving, and every moment you spend drifting is a moment you will never recover. You cannot afford to wait for perfect conditions before you decide to commit. You cannot keep postponing your future waiting for a sign. The sign you are waiting for is in the fact that you are alive right now, with breath in your lungs and opportunities still in front of you. The clock is ticking, and the question you must answer is not whether you will live, but whether you will live with purpose. Direction gives you that purpose, and it forces you to stop wasting time on things that do not matter. What separates those who live a fulfilling life from those who simply exist is not intelligence, it is not talent, it is not talent, it is direction. The successful person is not the one who has the easiest life, but the one who knows exactly what they want and pursues it relentlessly. The fulfilled person is not the one who avoids pain, but the one who embraces it because they know it is leading them somewhere meaningful. The strongest person is not the one who never falls, but the one who rises again because their direction gives them a reason to keep moving. Without direction, failure feels final. With direction, failure feels temporary because it is just another step in the process of becoming who you were meant to be. When you think about the life you want, understand that it will not come from chance, but from choice. Every choice you make is either moving you closer to your purpose or further away from it. Choosing to live with direction means being intentional about every decision. It means guarding your time, guarding your energy, and guarding your focus because you know that all three are limited. It means saying no when distractions try to pull you off course. It means standing firm when fear tries to paralyze you. It means continuing to move forward even when the road feels long. Because at the end of the day, the person who stays true to their direction will always arrive at a place of fulfillment, while the person who keeps drifting will always wonder why they feel empty. It's important to realize that living with direction is not just about you. Your life affects others. The way you choose to live, the way you choose to show up, and the way you choose to pursue your vision will inspire those around you. Living without direction doesn't just hurt you. It hurts your family, your friends, your community, and everyone connected to you. On the other hand, living with purpose creates a ripple effect. When you decide to walk with direction, you give others permission to do the same. You show them what is possible when someone takes ownership of their life. You demonstrate that clarity, focus, and discipline can transform not only your world, but the world around you. Direction is what transforms dreams into reality. Everyone dreams, but not everyone acts. Everyone has potential, but not everyone fulfills it. What makes the difference is direction. Dreams without direction remain fantasies. Potential without direction turns into regret, but dreams with direction become goals, and goals with direction become achievements. That is why direction is not optional. It is essential. It is the key to unlocking everything that has been placed inside of you. It is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. As you come to the end of this reflection, the challenge is not to simply agree with the words, but to act on them. Reflection without action is wasted energy. Knowledge without application is useless. You already know that living without direction leads nowhere. You already know that time is too precious to waste. You already know that you cannot afford to keep drifting. So the question is not whether you understand, the question is what will you do now? Will you walk away and continue life as it is, or will you make the decision to step into intentional living? The answer to that question will determine the rest of your life. There will always be distractions, but distractions only have power when you lack focus. There will always be obstacles, but obstacles only stop you when you forget your purpose. There will always be reasons to quit, but quitting only becomes an option when you don't know where you are. Direction gives you the strength to overcome all of these because it gives you something worth fighting for. When you know your why, know what can stop you. When you know where you are headed, no detour can destroy you. When you live with purpose, nothing can break you because you understand that everything is part of the journey. In the end, life is about legacy. It is about what you leave behind long after you are gone. Nobody remembers those who lived aimlessly, but everyone remembers those who live with passion, purpose, and direction. Legacy is not built by chance. It's built by consistent choices made in alignment with your vision. If you want your life to mean something, if you want your story to inspire others, and if you want to leave behind more than just memories, you must live with direction. That is how you turn your existence into significance. So as you move forward from this moment, make a decision. Make the decision to no longer waste time, to no longer drift, and to no longer settle for less than you are capable of. Make the decision to take control of your life, to set your direction, and to pursue it with everything in you. Make the decision to live intentionally, to walk with clarity, and to embrace every challenge as part of the process. Make the decision to not just exist, but to live. And when the journey gets hard, as it surely will, remind yourself why you started. Remind yourself that direction is not about comfort, but about progress. Remind yourself that every step you take, no matter how small, is moving you closer to the life you were meant to live. Remind yourself that the pain of discipline is always less than the pain of regret. And remind yourself that at the end of this life, it will not be the money, the possessions, or the applause that matters. It will be the legacy you left, the impact you made, and the lives you touched because you chose to live with direction. That is the challenge, that is the call, and that is the conclusion. Life without direction is a wasted life, but life with direction is a meaningful life. The choice is yours and the time is now. Live with purpose, live with clarity, and live with direction. Because when you do, you will not only change your life, you will change the world.